I'm one of those people who have wanted to practice law since I was in 6th grade to show you how messed up I am. I love the practice of law. It's near and dear to my heart. But there's a few things you should understand about law and employment law and how this works. First of all, it's not so much about right, not so much about wrong, not so much about justice. It's about dollars and cents, it's about economics. 2 ways you can hire an attorney. One, you can hire an attorney based on what's called an hourly rate. And you can pay the attorney hourly for whatever their services are, okay? That's the least popular, actually, by employees who are suing in California. The second way that you can hire an attorney is called contingency fee. That's the good old Larry Parker approach that you see out there on TV. And so what happens in those situations is that the attorneys get a certain percentage of whatever the recovery is. Very few employees can afford to hire an attorney on an hourly basis. That's why well over 99% of all employment cases I've dealt with are always done on a contingency fee basis. And so it's important to understand the economics of this. My job, quite frankly, is to figure out a legal way to convince those opposing attorneys not to sue my clients. That's what this is all about. That's how I really look at this whole situation. In my opinion, anytime an attorney uses legalese when they're up talking, it's usually because they're trying to BS you somewhat. I've been told I'm pretty blunt and direct about this stuff. That's the deal. People, when they sue you, they want your home. The one word I emphasize in my book that's highlighted there is the word respect. One big way that you avoid litigation is you treat your employees with respect. I know that sounds kind of hokey, but it's the reality of the truth. It doesn't mean you let them roll over with you. It doesn't mean that you let them take advantage of you. Even if you're firing someone, you can still do it with respect. That's the key. These are magic words. Tell them I'll get back to you. They buy you time. It works with my teenagers, works with everybody else. Nobody knows what it means, but it's great. Because that way you can go talk to a couple other people, get some ideas and some suggestions before you go back and commit yourself. Number 9 on your list on page 4 is called the Blue-Haired Lady Doctrine. I created this 25 years ago. And it works like this. I almost named my book after this. By the way, my book is called Handling Employment Law for Bosses and Supervisors, aka BS, Employment BS. That's why the bull's in the front, to try to add a little humor to this. The most common question I get from clients who show up at my office are, after they've been sued, Jeff, am I going to win or lose this? In California, typically 65 to 75% of all juror panel members are made up of retired people, i.e. blue-haired ladies, okay? They might have been 20 years of age when I was born. They've got God-given common sense, good judgment, and they make the decisions based on facts as they know them. That's why many times blue-haired ladies are typically jury forepersons on jury panels. If you look statistically, it comes out that way. So I say to my clients, if you really want to know if what you did was right or wrong, just imagine your mother or grandmother was standing next to you. If they think what you've done in that particular situation, if you imagine how they would react was okay, then you're probably all right. If not, you're probably going to lose. Employees will go through and sue you for 4 different categories of damages, okay? One category of damages they sue you for is loss of wages. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, in this particular case, my client here has indicated that she worked for the company for 10 years. She was making $50,000 a year for this company. She's 30 years of age. In this case, it's her position that what happened here was she was repeatedly sexually harassed by her male supervisor, and because of that, she finally had the courage to go forward according to their policy and procedure and report this. And instead of the company firing her, what they did is they came up, they dummied up some explanation to get rid of her because this VP was making the company a lot of money. So they got rid of her for some inappropriate reason, trying to claim that was the real reason. If you believe that's what happened, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, then my client is entitled to 4 categories of damages. One category of damages, she's entitled to loss of wages. Second category, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, for my client's claims for damages, she's got damages for emotional distress. We've heard from her Harvard-educated psychologist that basically she suffered tremendous emotional distress. Third category, ladies and gentlemen, for this particular case is my client's entitled to recover damages which are called punitive damages. These are damages designed to punish the wrongdoer for intentional misconduct. There's a 4th category of damages. The 4th category of damages is called attorney's fees. During a trial, attorneys are not allowed to discuss this issue of attorney's fees. But if the employee wins on the lawsuit, that means if the employee wins on the lawsuit, the employer has to pay all of the employee's attorney's fees and costs. I asked them to bring in their personnel file. Let's see what you've got on this person. And half the time they'll come in with a personnel file that's this thick, which is 1 page. It's usually a handwritten evaluation that says 2 weeks before they fired the person what a great job the employee was doing. Then what will happen is the employee who will bring in the lawsuit will bring in a stack of documents during the lawsuit, this thick, color-coded, alphabetized, listing in chronological order everything illegal the company's done for the last 3 years. Many of you have heard this, and this is true statistically. The biggest fights that most companies have where men and women are working together is the thermostat. All right? The ladies are freezing, the guys are burning up. Usually there's a piece of tape on the thermostat saying, if you touch this, I'll shoot you, kind of notes that are out there. And it's the realities. Again, if you treat people like numbers, they will sue you for numbers. And so what happens in these situations is that you want to make sure, with regard to whatever's taking place, that you're understanding the fact that people are unique. They are your best asset. They can also be your biggest detriment.